Seriously, our Adam Lee says, hey, how about we start a GoFundMe for Indiana Fever fines?
Without a major suspension, I think she's going to have the highest percentage of fines to dollars possibly ever, without getting suspended for a single game.
Why is Sophie Cunningham being punished by the WNBA for speaking up? What did she say that resulted in fines of $2,000? And why has that given the league a whole new set of problems? Stay with us, because the fallout from her statements is turning into something far bigger than anyone expected. Before we proceed, please do a little favor. Please think about liking this video and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this stuff. Surprisingly, over 83% of viewers have not yet subscribed. It only takes a second and is free, but to us, it means the world. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic. I sincerely appreciate your help. Let's return to the video now.
Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season? She's had 4 separate fines this season.
For F's sakes, the WNBA fined Sophie for her referee podcast comments, but let motherfucker beat the shit out of Caitlin Clark the last 2 seasons. No fines there.
Consider this. One of the WNBA's up-and-coming players, Sophie Cunningham, brands referees worthless in a TikTok video following a game full of dubious calls. She received a $500 fine from the league for just one post. Sophie, however, did not back down. Rather, she doubled down. She didn't merely defend her remarks on her show. She went further, illustrating the frustration that many players experience. As a result, she was hit with an extra $1,500 fine, making her total punishment $2,000. Things blew up at that point.
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding.
And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it was that bad.
The fans didn't like it. Within days, social media was ablaze with Sophie supporting hashtags trending on all platforms. Within hours, GoFundMe pages appeared and raised enough cash to cover her fines. Thousands of people signed petitions calling for improved officiating and openness on the imposition of fines, and the voices only became louder. Why criticize a player for expressing what so many people already think? Why penalize someone for pointing out what appears to be an indisputable problem within the league? This is when things start to get interesting. Contrast this with the NBA's approach to criticism. Speaking their thoughts has been the foundation of the careers of athletes like Draymond Green and even luminaries like Charles Barkley. Barkley in particular rose to fame not only for his actions on the court, but also for his unreserved views off it.
All she said was talking about, the refs need to protect. I'm pretty sure. Was it not for her saying the refs need to protect Caitlin Clark?
And she pulls me aside and she goes, come here, Soph, I have to talk to you. And this was in front of everybody. And I was like, what did I do now? And she just smiled and she goes, hey, they're going to fine you again.
Fans expect it, not just accept it. It appears that the WNBA is following an entirely different strategy. One has severe repercussions for free speech, and it seems impossible to overlook that disparity. But here's the kicker. The punishment imposed by the league has accomplished the exact reverse of what was probably intended. Sophie's message has been reinforced, and the officiating issues she brought out have received even more attention. When a narrative is suppressed in an attempt to have it dominate headlines, this is the Strand effect at its height. There's more irony to come. Do you recall the controversies surrounding recent, unpunished, cheap shots directed toward Caitlin Clark on the court? A trend is being noticed by fans. It appears that the league punishes words more severely than deeds. What message does that convey? Regretfully, the WNBA's answer to Sophie is encouraging criticism rather than stifling it.
When the NFL's officiating looks 1,000% better than this league, oh, you got a real officiating problem.
So this is what she said. If I was a ref, I know I mess up all the time. I'm not saying your job is easy, but when it's a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
And there are other problems at work here as well. Have you ever puzzled why a game didn't feel fair after watching it? That annoyance is at the heart of the discussions Sophie Cunningham started. Although Sophie acknowledged that officiating is a difficult job, her primary concern was consistency, or the lack thereof. This goes beyond a few missed calls here and there. It has to do with a pattern. It is seen in how teams perform, how spectators respond, and how players discuss the games afterward. Sophie's remarks were not unexpected. They are exposing a more significant problem that the league has been avoiding for many years. Consider the recent situation with Caitlin Clark as the ideal illustration. It is not surprising that spectators are upset during highlight moments like when elite athletes take cheap shots and don't give a damn. These occurrences are growing far too frequent.
I think the players across the league, new fans across the country, everyone's like, what's going on with the refs? I'm like, I don't know. And you're finding me, $500 is not going to do shit.
This made it back to her podcast talking about her getting fined. It turns it into a bigger story for the WNBA.
While major transgressions on the court seem to go unnoticed, players like Sophie are criticized for being overly talkative. To be honest, the stark disparity is making supporters turn against the very system they wish to support. These days, officiating issues even affect rival leagues. Here's the difference, though. Most people deal with it in a different way. Let us examine the NFL. Even if it has its share of referee disputes, recall the Saints' no-call lunacy in 2019, there's still a greater sense of accountability.
There's a petition over the WNBA officiating, how bad it is, over Sophie Cunningham getting fined. That is great.
It's like finding her $500 is not going to do shit. Finding her $1,500 is not going to do shit either.
The referees have a more polished appearance. They publicly analyze their choices, and gamers who voice their disapproval of poor calls are not punished. However, it appears that the WNBA is more concerned with stifling criticism than with resolving the fundamental issues. That strategy alienates the people who matter most in addition to failing. This is supported by research. In addition to hurting a game's result, bad officiating erodes confidence. Supporters start to doubt the league's legitimacy. Because they fear penalties, players pull back. Even worse, it all culminates in fans utterly losing interest.
She would have made about maybe $400 or $500 of just a clip of her talking about the referees. No, she would have made a huge profit on that. Huge profit.
But needless to say, at one point in this song, she calls the referees useless.
The worst part is still to come. Players and fans are no longer being silent. They are calling for openness. It's not simply noise from social media. It serves as a rallying call. The SP was the main source of the issue, not Sophie's remarks.